don't know if you remember it or not, when Daddy used to come in and
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, I didn't say nothing. I went over, how much did I get off of Roy for you? Money.
I only had $2.50.
Well, anyway.
That's all I had to get me to Ashland, Kentucky on.
That wasn't much money.
They weren't even much left when we lived there in Elkhorn, because Daddy run through with it.
Yeah.
But anyway, they was talking over about me. I guess some of them won't know who it was. Thought I got everything, and I hightailed it. I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Your daddy was born in town with, I don't know, Jimmy, or I think it had to be Jimmy. I don't think Herman was married then. I think it was with Jimmy. He said, more than Jimmy, he's going to check on getting divorced. And he said, now, you stop over to Roscoe's. Roscoe, you know, you probably didn't know him, but his name was Roscoe Rowe. He said, you stop over at Roscoe's now. He owes me some money. You get it. I didn't stop at Roscoe's. You know what I got on? I got on the bus.
Yeah.
On the bus, and I rode into Pikesville, and I looked around. Now, is there anybody in here I know that knows me? I got on that bus, got off, stayed there when the other bus was supposed to leave. And I hopped on that bus. Well, I used my head. Whenever that bus went by the courthouse, I knew how them codgers was down there to stand gaze. I laid down in the back seat. I went clear in the back. And I laid down in the back seat till the bus got out. Now, I had a rough face. I sure did. I didn't get no money. Cheryl didn't know where I was going.
Mm-hmm.
She knowed I was leaving. And I stopped over at Little Roy's, and I said, now go over to the house. Shelby was over there, I think. But anyway, Cheryl had a appendicitis operation. And I had been working there at Louisville, that Waverly Hill Sanatorium. And I had a little $29 check coming to me. Well, your daddy went to Louisville, and he got a job working them sleepers. He was in Indiana. And he said, well, see, I had the keys to the rooming house.
Mm-hmm.
And it just happened I didn't give them to him, but he wanted them. He wanted the keys, because I couldn't get my money, because I had wrote a letter wanting them to send my money, and her name, the boss, was Mrs. Falls. And she said, I can't send your money to you till we get the keys. See, I stayed at the rooming house. So, your daddy went away and didn't take the keys. Well, I'll tell you, Lot, used to, I wouldn't say shit if I had my mouth full. I'd just do easy and this and that. And I didn't do your daddy bad whenever I was living in Kentucky. I did not. Well, anyway, I went, and Cheryl had been having bad spells. Southern side was hurting. We had to hold her in the bed. Jack, Overstreet's girl, went to the doctor with her on Monday, but Sue Hutchison was down there, and Sue and I held her in the bed on a Saturday night after your daddy left, and I thought, well, now, I'll take and talk around to him, and he won't be able to leave till after all the bars closes. Well, I heard he went down on the Horses Creek and visited old Miss Ambergy and told Miss Ambergy today, don't be worried about Faye, she'll be okay, I'm going to get her. That's when he had that total car wreck in Muncie, Indiana, and I did. I got a hold of a paper where it says Mistress Spears lost control of her car.
Oh, is that right?
I wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever she had James Ari, turned him in as Spears. Let me tell you, I know Thurman Hibbets, and he was prosecuting attorney. I went to Thurman Hibbets down there, and I went to Charles E. Lowe, and I got advice.
Mm-hmm.
And I had dreams when I was away, and that was it. And I had it rough. But anyway, back to Cheryl. Doctors wasn't in on the Sunday. On Monday she went to the doctor. She went to Dr. Deskin. He said, oh, you just got an upset stomach. Give her some feet medicine. I said, that's not gonna do. You go over and see Dr. Newsom. Claretta went with you, didn't she?
I did.
Jack and Lexi's girl. And he gave her some pills and used the ice pack on her. And I think we got some ice up there at Lexi's, didn't we? Because her refrigerator went bad. Well, that night, she took another spell, and he says if she takes another spell, to send her to the hospital. No way to the hospital. Logs when he was the ambulance driver. Called him up, he took her. I rode along. I got him to wait at the hospital till the doctor come in. Now you see what nice people they are down there? I said, I don't have no way home. And if they keep her, I have to have a way home. He said, don't worry, I'll wait on you. And he let me out right there at the foot on the main highway, and I had to walk up to the house, but I didn't mind that. And they kept her. Going to operate next morning. I got me a cab real early. Went down. When your daddy come in to see Denver was up there with Cheryl, he come off the hill. It was after the operation. And he told me after that, so, well, guess who I saw last night? And I went off the hill. So, old Bay and your daddy come in on the bus. See? I don't want that to happen no more. Whenever Faye died, Bobby thought I would have hit the trail. I says, Bobby. He says, well, what about it? Not me. I had that once. I'm through with it.
Don't need it again, huh?
No.
Don't blame you.
I told them if I didn't have Pappy, I said I wouldn't let a man smell where I wet at.
Yeah.
But anyway, see, he had to come off the hill and go home. I don't know where he got a cab or how, but I heard that he got a cab. He took her up, and then he went on home. Well, anyway, I was at the house. But I was down there, it was after she had her operation. She said she's supposed to go and see the doctor. And just as it happened, that was Labor Day. I said, sure, I don't think the doctors will be in on Labor Day. Yeah, she told me to come back just for a checkup. We went down. He wasn't in. Can you remember that? The doctor wasn't in. Well, we was walking back to the bus station, and here come Denver. Denver said, well, you should go to the movie with me. I says, well, our bus don't leave till late. I told him one time, just so she's back here to take your bus home with me. Well, she was back. You know how it is in Buzzgorn. People's in come two girls. See? Had their luggage and had a big box, you know, under their arm. I thought, well, I better go use. They went right around. I didn't know where they went. And I went in and used the restroom. There was one of the girls. There's only had one remote in there. And this one girl, she asked her friend, I guess, in there, said, you got a comb? And this other one said, no. And this girl asked me, said, you got a comb? Yes. I got a comb. I always carry a comb with me at all times. She said, can you care if I borrow it? Yeah, I'll let you use my comb. I said, where are you girls going? They said, we're going to Ashland, Kentucky. I said, well, I'm planning on coming through there about the 6th. She said, are you? One of them was a Johnson girl. I said, yeah. Said, you going to be able to stand in there? And I said, no. I used to work down in Louisville, and I have to get my pay from Louisville. I may come back there and hunt a job. I said, no, okay. She told me where she worked, and she gave me a ranch phone number. Don't matter what you need, you just call me up, or I'm working at the Eagles Dime Store, there national. I'll help you any way I can. A lot of times, you have to take and have reference. you know, somebody that knows you or something for a job. I'll help you any way I can. Well, when I rode that bus on Saturday into Ashland, she'd gone to the movie. I called her aunt. She'd gone to the movie. I told her aunt who it was. I'll have her to come to the bus station as soon as she gets off. She turned to the bus station. I stayed on Saturday night, Sunday night, Thursday. I didn't leave. I was going to Louisville till Monday. So she let me have the money. And I said, no, I'll pay you back. Oh, no. Don't worry about that. Well, whenever I was kind of waiting and looking, and they was a drugstore right up from the bus station. Had a sign in the windows that said help wanted. Well, before I left on that bus, I thought, well, I'm going to go on in and see what kind of help they want. Well, I asked one of the ladies, and she said, you'll have to see the man over there, and he was the boss. I went over, I told him. Told him my problem, too. I said, I'm planning on getting divorced, and I'm planning on getting my kids. And I don't have any money. I got enough money to get me all Louisville and back. Little deed on. He said, well, I'll tell you what, lady. Said, do you have a Social Security card? I said, I do. He said, you care if you let me have it? I handed him my Social Security card. He said, if you'll be a nice little girl and a good little girl, said, you won't have to worry about clothes. You won't have to worry about money. You won't have to worry about a place to stay. So I'll give you a job. Well, got on that bus. I thought, well, now, maybe I won't see nobody here that I know. Here was old Alice Apsher. She had been in the hospital there and she was going to go home. They run a beer joint there in Elkhorn then.
Did they?
Yeah. You know where the theater was, just across.
Yeah.
Alice, oh Alice. Oh, where are you going? So and so. I told her some kind of big tale. But see, I went to Louisville and got my check. Back to Ashland. Well, I was asleep. Well, I told that man had a drugstore there. I guess it worked out just for the best, you know. Bus broke down at Moorhead. They had to get another bus to come and carry us on in. And he said, now it closed at 11 o'clock at night. But it was long after that. Next morning, well, when I got in and stayed in the bus station, I was sleepy. I guess I kind of nodded, and then some nice guy come in there and tapped me on the shoulder. He said, ma'am, said, if you're sleepy and want to sleep, said, why don't you go in the
There's
ladies'
Leroy already.
There's
said,
Leroy.
why don't you go in the ladies' restroom?
Henry.
Said the cops comes in here and checks so often, if they get you asleep, they may take you to jail. So I went in ladies' restroom, and they just had these rough seats. You know, setting is like
Bench.
yeah. So I went in there for a while. Well, the next morning, before good daylight, I thought, I went to the drugstore and it wasn't open. I took me a walk there in Ashland. See, I wasn't acquainted with Ashland. I didn't know nothing about it. And I got some good friends in Ashland right now. But anyway, I went, took a walk and run up on the unemployment office. I said to myself, well, I'm not going to take that job at the drugstore. I want my kids. But he said it didn't matter, you know, this or that. I wouldn't have to worry about that. So I went to my unemployment office and seen what time, you know, they opened up and they had big signs there, tomato pickers here and tomato pickers there and everything, you know, all. Well, that's what my aunt Jane Green worked at, you know. She'd go to different places. And I went to the unemployment office and they wasn't open. I thought, well, I'm going back to the bus station. While I'm at the bus station, I'll get my card. I went in, asked for my card, and he said, why aren't you going to work for me? I said, yeah, but you don't need my card. I didn't have it in my mind one bit to get his job there. But anyway, when I went out to the unemployment office, they told me, said, well, I just explained to them up there, I don't want this and I don't want that because I'm like a convict. I have to hide around for a while. Having problems with my husband, and every time I leave him, he'll put up a big tail, and that's it. And then he follows through, you know, and beats me up. And they just said, well, you come back in at 1 o'clock. And they told a woman that had a good friend, and she lived out by the golf course. She always used the maid, so I got a job there for a while. The other woman was going, she was a foreigner. She was going overseas to visit her family, and she wanted me to stay there and take care of her house. And she just had a little dog, and my room was clear up on the 3rd floor, and whenever it stormed, you had to crank the windows in and everything. And I told her I didn't want to stay there when they was gone, and it was close to the golf course, you know, and you didn't know what time somebody's going to be around. So, I guess you could turn JR, and you better leave that old couch arm alone.
Hey, Glenn was in the army.
Okay.
Glenn was in
you go
the
out.
army.
You go out with Puppy. Don't get them short and sturdy.
You want to listen to Grandma?
I think there are beets in there for him.
Okay.
Take care.
I don't remember where we stopped.
Well, I think we was talking about Ashland, Kentucky.
Yeah.
Was that it?
Mm-hmm. Lights in your eyes there.
Light's not
Yeah.
bothering me. No, it's just fine.
You were talking about when you went up to Ashland. Yeah.
Yeah, I went to Ashland, and I went up there down in the employment office, and one of these women that worked in there said, yeah, I got a good friend, and said she lives out at the golf course, and I'll call her up. And now, JR, you better quit it, and I'll put you outside if you do that again.
I know.
I will, and you know it too. But anyway, she said I got a good friend, and I'll call her up. You come back in at 1 o'clock. I went back in at 1, and they called me in, you know, she was there. Yeah, I said, I got a young girl, and she wants to stay out at night. I said, I'm responsible for her. She's an underage. Said, you go find you a hotel room. Said, now, some of them here in town is pretty expensive. Said, you get your hotel room. He said, I can't get set over till Friday. Well, she said, now I'll get you a cheap one. Well, went to some, there wasn't too many that I knowed of down there. There was one called the Henry Clay Hotel. That's where the people went for the service. Well, I didn't get that, so went on up street. Little one, you know, you went off the street right upstairs. There's a man up there, and I asked him, yeah. I gave him money. And I went out one morning, just crossed for my breakfast. And went back in, and he said, you got a phone call. I said, so I got a phone call? Yeah. Where's the number? On the wall there. I thought it was one, it was the woman I was supposed to work for. She says, no, I'll be out after you. Well, that didn't give me a big relief. The reason was, you see, I got this hotel room. Well, there was a cleaning lady there, and just as I went up there, she got acquainted with me quick. But she said, I'm glad you come, but said, I'm leaving. Today is my last day here. Well, there's a man went down the hall, and he acted like he was boozy-woozy, you know. Had a towel wrapped around him, just as hairy as he could be, you know. I got in her room, you know, and she said, can I set my luggages in your room? I said, yeah. She said, you want to walk up the street with me? And she's going up the street at a tourist. She said, you want to walk up there and see when you want me to start? Because she's going to be rooming up there working. I said, yeah. We walked up there, and we come back, and she called her cab, take her suitcases up. But before we left, that man come down from taking a shower, I guess, and he offered her some money. She said, I want your money. So he knew her, you know, somewhere. Well, the door, on the door that I had the room, well, it had a padlock on it. It didn't have no padlock on it, but it had a hook for the padlock. And we could just pull it too, that's all we could do. And when she went back with me to get her luggage, somebody had been in the room. There was a door, and we closed the door. The door was open. And I forget her name, but I said, somebody been in the room. And she says, oh, I don't think so. Why? I said, well, didn't we close the door? And she said, so right you are. That's the way you see, here's the door. Well, before she left, she knew that's my room. That the guy let me have. It just, like that was the platform. And the night was the man that worked, or the woman ever who worked. It was a man, oh, I seen him. Because I wasn't there too long. And just a step or two right down. There's where he was at. A step or two up, he's on the platform, and then walk on this way or that way, or close to my room. Well, I went in, she told me though, she says, well, said all day, said, this used to be my room. And said, somebody tried to come in on me. And I said, they got on the roof out there. And the bed was across the window, see?
Yeah.
I only had one door, and it just went out in that way. And she said, I'd be afraid to stay here. So somebody tried to come in on me one night. Come on the roof. Well, you know me, I was all shook up and hard and worried and everything, and long in the night I heard a little sound, just a little bitty sound, you know. And over the top of the door, you know how they'll have that glass to crank out? I just heard a wee sound. And there wasn't no window but the one. And I knew if somebody tried to come in on that, it wasn't level with the window. They would have had a problem of getting up. So I can't figure why she ever told me that. But anyway, I wasn't asleep. Somebody had their head sticking up like that. I said, hey, you better get away from there, you're liable to get shot. And I said it loud, which I could fasten my door on the inside. And the desk clerk, he must have come up because he says, what are you doing? I said, oh, I was asking her where I get something to eat. Now, they never spoke to me. Well, I had some friends that worked in a restaurant. But that wasn't a restaurant where I went to eat when I was first started, but I met these girls later. And the rest, here's a hotel, and across the street is where I went, but down the street was where my friends, I met them later, I didn't know them then. And this man used to come in, I didn't know his name, and then one of the girls' name was Dorcie. She lived way out, and I've been to her house, I've stayed all night at her house. They was nice people. And I said, one day to her, you know, I said, does that man still come in here? She said, what man? I called him the hairy man. She said, no. I said, you know what? I said, something happened. I said, that hotel where he was staying, so the manager put him out. Said he was looking in through the door on somebody. And the manager put him out. I said, that's me. She said it was. Well, anyway, I got out in the country. But I didn't like out there by myself. I didn't have to do no cooking. I didn't have to do making no beds. Made my own bed. I washed the dishes. I done some ironing. Didn't have to do nothing or run the sweeper. I didn't have no hard work to do. Good pay. Made, you know. Her husband was the main guy over the Arm-Cold Steel Mill. They're nice. And they took her daughter, her and her husband, and her little daughter took the daughter down Lexington, Kentucky on a Saturday to college. Well, she said, now you can have the run of the house, anything that you want to eat, you fix it. But I didn't. I ate what I might eat, but I didn't eat what she told me. You know, she said just anything, freezer, refrigerator, anything. They had a little dog. She wanted me to stay there and just watch the dog and take care of the dog and watch the house. Well, she was going overseas someplace. I forget where she was from, and she could talk good as we could. And I told her, I said, well, I don't want to stay here when you go away. I'd be afraid. She said, well, you wouldn't have to stay up in your room. You could come down. Well, oh, that was a great big house, and cranking the windows when it rains.